My rapist asked me to marry him and my parents agreed. There are 20 countries in the world that allow your rapist to marry you to avoid prosecution. And unfortunately, I'm from one of those countries. All of this started 6 months ago. I was just a normal girl attending college. I signed up for fashion design in school and it was my dream. Now, my father is extremely sexist. He believes women should not have an education and that they just need to be home all day. And because of that, we fight every single day when I go to school. Now, my mom is more supportive, but she's still under my father's thumb and can't really do anything to help me. Since being in school, I've made tons of friends and met lots of people. But I swore off having a boyfriend because I just want to focus on my studies. But unfortunately, one of the guys at my college just became obsessed with me. He would ask me out every single week and I would say no. I did not give him my phone number, so he asked my best friend for it. And she didn't give it to him either. I always see him hanging around and I swear to God he was stalking me. What he did next is so unbelievable. Trigger warning. As I was walking home, I noticed that he was behind me. That's when he grabbed me and raped me. Part 2 is up. That's when he pulled me into an empty parking lot and raped me. I had only noticed him walking behind me a minute before he grabbed me, so I didn't really have a chance to run or even scream. But thank God it didn't take him very long. Before I knew it, he was done and he was putting his pants back on. I'm lying on the floor and that's when he says, "I'm so sorry. I told you to go out with me, but you kept rejecting me." Let me remind you, I live in one of the 20 countries where marrying your rapist is allowed. I thought I would just go home and never tell my family. If my father found out that this happened, he would probably blame it on me. My mother has no voice, so she can't defend me. But you are not going to believe what my rapist did. He beat me to my house, told my parents that he had just raped me, and that I was now damaged goods. That no man would want to marry somebody who was not a virgin. And because of this, he should be allowed to marry me. I knew this law existed in my country, but I didn't know it was real. Just picture it. I've just been raped. I get home and I see my rapist with my parents in the living room. My mother is in tears and my father is shaking the hand of my rapist. And it gets even worse from here. Part 3 is up. My rapist asked me to marry him and my parents agreed. When I come home, I see my rapist shaking the hand of my father, my mother crying. That's when they break the news to me that I have to marry my rapist. My rapist is standing in my house. I'm supposed to rejoice because he wants to marry me now after raping me? I live in one of the 20 countries that allows your rapist to marry you to avoid prosecution. I had to be the one to kick my rapist out of my house. But he was completely delulu. He kept apologizing and even tried to give me a kiss. And instead of receiving comfort and maybe being taken to the hospital, my parents let me know that I was now going to marry this man. The man who had just forced himself on top of me. So I did what I had to do. Packed my bag, went to the bank and grabbed my savings, and moved to a different city. I managed to enroll myself into a different school. I have not spoken to my dad since. I emailed my mom telling her where I was, but I have no plans of going back. Oh yeah, and my rapist, he was severely beat by a girl he tried to rape. I only wish I had her same courage to fight back. But I'm free now. Bye.
Am I the a-hole for pouring wine on my mother-in-law and kicking her out of my wedding?
Please, Charlotte, spill the tea.
Okay, I know this sounds really bad, but please read the entire story. I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of already on your side.
I know, if it gets to that point.
I, female 34, recently got married to my husband. I'm 36. He was never close with his mom at all. She was invited to the wedding because she was his mother, but she never showed up to rehearsals for the wedding. She was a bridesmaid because she asked if she could be one. Okay, no issue. My bridesmaids were told to wear pink. Pink was in all caps, just FYI. I don't know if that adds color
Well, I mean,
or
whenever
not.
you say the word pink, you have to scream it.
Pink!
How do you like your steak?
Pink!
I like it medium with a little bit of pink in it!
Keep that in mind. The wedding theme was spring, and my plan was to have them in pink to be like cherry blossoms. Oh, that's kind of cute. I was in a white dress, obviously, and I thought it would be so cute for photos to have them in light pink and me in white. Well, the day of the wedding comes. Let me guess, she wore white. Guess what color the mother-in-law shows up in? You guessed it. White.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, if you add some wine, you could turn it pink. I would say you could have drenched her in like some rosé or something, and then she would be pink.
Yeah, 100%. Or smear some cake on her.
Yeah, just some
chocolate cake, then she would be sort of a mocha.
I asked her to change. By the way, they all bought their own dresses, the only specific thing being the color. But she said, well, you're wearing white, so why can't I?
What? What world do you live in?
Oh my God. We've been through this so many times. You can't because you are not the bride. My husband told her to change or leave. She said, I can wear whatever I want. I said, not to my wedding! Ah! She stormed out, shouting slurs and calling me fat. I cried. My maid of honor, my sister, comforted me. At the ceremony, the priest said, speak now or forever hold your peace. Suddenly, my mother-in-law appeared in the crowd, grinning ear to ear. No, please no, please no. She didn't object, thank God. Oh, God.
Plot twist?
But kept grinning at me. Oh, that's weird.
It's so passive aggressive.
That's maniacal, honestly. At the reception, my maid of honor did the classic trick and poured a whole big glass of wine on her. She started screaming, "My beautiful white dress!"
Not anymore, it's not.
My husband then escorted her out. My phone began blowing up. My husband's side of the family all complaining and telling me off, saying she meant no harm and that my sister had no right to pour wine on her. My husband said me and my sister did nothing wrong, but I'm second guessing myself. So am I the a-hole?
It's tough. You know, I mean, like, it's not right what she was doing. I think in that situation, your sister maybe escalated it a bit. Like, I don't know if the wine was necessary. Maybe a good stern talking to.
It's great for the plot. Like, I love the story.
I think she deserved the wine.
Yeah, she deserved it.
But the family is rightfully upset that your sister threw the wine on her. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still on your side, though.
You can be an a-hole and still be right.
Yeah, you can be a little a-hole.
Honestly, every maid of honor should have the super soaker full of red wine for the off chance some idiot wears white to insult the bride. Don't worry so much. It was done to be malicious, so she got the appropriate consequences. I get why she did it. It should be commonplace that if you wear white, you could get super soaked.
You get like a bunch of wine on your dress. You don't want to wear white. Even if I wanted to wear white, probably spill on myself in the first 5 minutes. I always stain my white shirts. It's a problem of mine.
By accident, you mean?
No, it's on purpose. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she also didn't respect your wishes when you told her to leave, too. So it's like...
What about the fact that she wasn't close with your husband?
My only issue is that obviously this probably made a scene. I don't want people to like look back on your wedding and remember that as like the only, kind of thing, Mm-hmm. Like you can do it 100%. I support this, but just be like mindful of the fact, like when people talk about your wedding, do you want them to say, "Oh, it was crazy. This girl wore white and then someone poured wine on her." You want them to remember your wedding in a good way, right?
Yeah. It's like you don't want it to be tarnished. I'm just thinking of a crazy story that I have of a wedding, but I don't think I should share it.
The time when the guy greened out.
Yeah.
I've already shared this story.
Have you shared the story?
I've already talked about it, yeah. I mean, that is the story that I tell when I'm like thinking about that wedding specifically. I'm like, oh God, it was crazy. This guy like had to get taken out on a stretcher and then it turns out he just like smoked too much weed.
Yeah, but the moral of the story though is that what happened after is that the groom's brother made the best speech I've ever seen at a wedding or heard.
A toast to the man with the worst haircut.
And the energy, it was like we were so low that we were waiting for something, and that speech was so good that it brought us all up to 1,000. So I'm hoping that at your wedding, I know that was a little blemish, and like I still remember this as part of my friend's wedding, but afterwards it was a hell of a party. So I hope something positive happened. I'm sure it was a lovely time. Yeah, man, I respect your friends. Like, I hope my friends would throw...
Honestly, your friend is a real one for doing that for you. Also, kudos to your husband as well for standing up for you and not being a pushover with regards to this. Like, sometimes you hear these stories of unhinged mother-in-laws and the husband doesn't do anything. And like, I think that he deserves a reward.
What kind of reward?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that name.
Everyone was so upset, but they're not close. I don't get it.
I don't know.
You're not the a-hole, in my opinion.
You are not the a-hole, my dear. It is decided.
You are not the father. Wait, which one are we doing? Oh, you are not the a-hole. Subscribe!
Am I the asshole for canceling our gender reveal party because I know my husband will be unhappy and possibly leave? My 37 female husband, 43 male, and I have a son, 9 male together, and I'm currently pregnant with our second child. My husband and I have already booked the venue for the gender reveal and will lose the photographer's deposit and what we spent on decorations, etc. However, my husband is more concerned about the reputation effect as he grew up affluent, has a very high-paying job, and has a stake in a family business. However, I can tell that despite us having a boy who he absolutely adores, they can do no wrong in each other's eyes. My son also has every toy, fun activity, best clothings gifted by his dad. He desperately wants our second child, who we expect to be our last, to be a boy. I went into planning this reveal rationally that gender disappointment is okay, but I've come to realize that there is wishing you have a son, and then there's fixating on not having a daughter even more than wanting another son. And my husband falls in the second category. We didn't do a gender reveal party for our firstborn because my husband kept putting off whether or not he wanted to hear it from the doctor and when. We ended up learning with him ecstatic about having a son less than a month before giving birth. It's not all his fault. He grew up with an older dad who was always controlling towards his mother. Their town at the time was essentially a company town, and his dad threatened his family's jobs. Plus, he made it impossible for her to go about her day without seeing him until she agreed to be with him. My husband also pursued me pretty aggressively, and we had tension over how at times I felt uneasy around him. Yes, we've been in therapy over this.
Gosh.
Our marriage has been strained because I was done with him not understanding why my body was still not 100% 3 months after giving birth. He would counter by saying I turned down sex the day after giving birth, but that was him showing that he was attracted to me post-baby. Now his demons are back. We got to the point where he said fine to me going alone to hear the baby's gender without telling him, and I found out we're having a girl. I guess I don't have a good poker face by his negative reaction after I got home. He's arguing he doesn't know the baby's gender because I did not explicitly tell him that, but 100% he knows. I'd be fine with the reveal where the guests are the ones being surprised, but it's in a week, and with each day, my husband grows more withdrawn, and he's not the type who can fake happiness and often tries to leave and pull me away with him when he's really upset. I decided to pull the plug. Again, he's not mad about the money, yet he's angry that we're doing this to our family and friends and what this may say about him. I put my foot down. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my pregnant 19-year-old daughter she needs to move out ASAP? My daughter, Rose, 19, was always a smart girl. She did well in school and got a full ride to a great school that is locally. She's been living with me and going to school and doing well. She got this new boyfriend a few months ago who I don't like. I can smell the bullshit. He constantly lets her down, but covers it up with a big smile and grand promises. Despite my warnings, they're still dating, and now she's pregnant. I offered to pay for the abortion and take a few days off work to take her and help her recover. She said no. She's going to marry her boyfriend, and they'll be one big happy family. He wants to move into my house, and she'll drop out of school while he works to support them. He's a bartender who doesn't go to college. I laughed at that idea, which made her mad. She told me that since he can't move in, I'll need to step up and help with the baby more. Y'all, she has always been a very sensible child. I don't know where this all came from. I flat out told her that if she thinks she's grown enough to have and raise a child and get married, then she needs to move out soon and manage being an adult with the child's father. I raised the one child I wanted. I do not want any more children living in my home. I told her I'd pay for diapers here and there, and I'd still visit her, but this baby is 0% my responsibility. If she chooses adoption, which I'm pretty sure she wouldn't, I'd be willing to help her navigate that. She won't talk to me. My husband, her stepdad, is staying out of this, but thinks I could help more. I told him he's welcome to go over and babysit for her, and that shut him up. Edit, I had my daughter when I was 19. I was married to her father, who was in the military. I still graduated college on time at the age of 22, and everything worked out well for us until he died in service. The fact that it worked out okay for me is clouding my daughter's judgment, I think. Her trashy boyfriend can't even offer her or her child health insurance. It's a completely different scenario. Also, so many of you are suggesting I still let her live with me and keep the baby. That is not happening. I do not want a baby in my home, period. And I'm not babysitting either. I'll do normal grandparent stuff like show up to birthday parties and buy gifts here and there, but that's it. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for announcing our pregnancy at my brother's wedding after he proposed at mine?
Patty.
Ooh, what is up with all that? My brother said he was going to propose at my wedding. I told him no. That it was a day about myself and my wife, and we did not want any distractions. My mom lost her shit. She said that he wanted the family he might not see again for a while to be a part of the proposal. I said I did not give a shit, and that if he did it, I would have kicked him out. He did, and my mom said if I tried kicking him out, she would leave too. I just remember seething inside. My brother got married last weekend. Instead of a welcome to the family toast, I used that time to announce that we were expecting our first baby.
Oh, yes.
My mom was upset, but my grandma told her to sit down and shut up. We spent most of the reception talking to family we would not see again for a while about our baby coming. My mom says I was an asshole for taking attention away from my brother on his wedding day. What? She got really mad when I reminded her that she threatened to leave my wedding if I get him kicked out after he proposed. I have the screenshots to show it too. And then top comment, the tidbit about grandma is funny. I'd like to know more.